Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by for today's video. I hope you enjoy this little mashup review. I have a couple things that were sent to me in PR that I wanted to share with you. I mean, you all saw the thumbnail. So mostly we are here to check out the new Nomad palette. This is absolutely beautiful. When I opened this up, I could not believe this color story. This is, of course, the Pacific Northwest palette. We are going to get into this and do at least 2 looks. I also am really excited to share with you. This is not a new product by any means, but it's a blush. So you all know that I love a blush and I've been waiting to try these. These are the What's Up Beauty Rose Hippity Matte Liquid Blushes, and they actually sent these over. I was talking to the brand and they offered to send over their new matte liquid lips along with their new glossy balm, and I was like, I have to be honest, I really am I am never a matte liquid lip person, so that's probably not the vibe for me. However, I did see that you launched some liquid blushes, which I am a huge fan of, and I would love to try those. They did also send over the glossy balm, which I'm going to give you my thoughts on. So I thought, well, we need blush to go with our eyeshadow, right? So I thought we could do both. And after swatching these, I'm going to be really curious to see how they look on the face. So we're going to get into that. Like I said, we'll do at least 2 looks. We'll see what I have time to do today. Again, these were both sent in PR, but of course I have no obligation. My thoughts are going to be real. You always know that. I do have a discount code with Nomad. It is KEEPBEAUTYREAL if you do want to save on any of your purchases. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. All right, let's pull this baby out. As usual, I love the fact that they have the color story on the back. When I got this in the mail and I just peeked at this, and I was kind of quickly opening up boxes just to kind of like get stuff into the recycling before they came the next day, and I just peeked at this and I was like, okay, I do not have time to appreciate this yet, but from the vibes of this little preview, I am going to be here for this. So I really love this palette. If you have or you remember seeing the Fiji 5 Lakes palette, it is a very similar sort of like raised texture. Absolutely beautiful. I have to say, the Pacific Northwest is like absolutely on my top goals. Jeremy and I were just recently talking about like some of the places that we want to go and visit, but like have more than a day or 2 to check out, and this is definitely one of those. Okay. Look at this. This is so stinking beautiful. So I immediately, when I pulled this out, I was like, okay, you all probably know at this point that Ghost Town USA is one of my tippy top favorite Nomad palettes. I actually recently did a video ranking all of my Nomad palettes, everything from PR to purchases, all of the things. So I'll make sure to have that video linked down below, but spoiler alert, that's one that I really do enjoy. And this has some of those vibes because it has some more, by the way, if you guys hear grunting and scratching, Jet's in here with me. This has more of those desaturated, more like I said, earthy, grungy tones. And I love the dustiness of this. We have a beautiful blend of formulas. Let's see here. I'm going to count these off for you. Nomad was lovely and put it right on the back here. So we have 9 flourishing mattes, 3 sparkly shimmers, 4 dazzling duochromes, and 2 majestic multi-chromes. So if you like a mix of standard shimmers and multi-duochromes, this is going to be a palette for you. You all know that I really love the standard shimmer that Nomad does, but these other shades look very gorgeous and I cannot wait to dive in. So we're gonna do that. This is a pretty casual vibe today. Jet and I went to the dog park. We had a nice long walk this morning and I was like, it's time to sit down and do some makeup. So I think just given kind of like what I'm wearing today, we're gonna stick with some of these. Should we do some blues? Like, it's been a while since I've done, I don't know, this is a very pretty color. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what we come up with. Now, I also want to show you these liquid blushes. Now, I thought that it was interesting that these liquid blushes are matte. I have been kind of into the matte vibe lately. Like, I like a good glowy cheek. I like a shimmery blush, but there has been just something about having a matte look that has just been so flattering and blurring. I have the 3 colors here for you. I'm going to be very interested to see how these look on the skin. So we have the lightest shade, which is Oceana, and then we have the middle shade, which is Heirloom, and then our deepest and warmest shade here is Leonidas. I have a feeling that these are probably forms of roses, and I have a black thumb and not a green one, so that's probably a failure on my part. I mean, I put these on and like just sort of like laid them right out. So I'm gonna be curious to see, because right now they look a little on the chalky side, especially the lightest shade, just because I think that has a white base to it. So of course, you know, that's gonna have to be one that I'm gonna have to try out, because the one that's the scariest is the one that we need to at least try out, right? Now, I have to give a nod to this beautiful product right here. This is the Sophista Balm. So this is What's Up Beauty's Glossy Lip Balm and Lip Mask. It only comes in this one shade, which is basically like almost nothing. It's Sicilian Silk. This is what the applicator looks like. So this is exactly it. It is a natural gloss. It's not high shine, but it's not that like chapsticky, slightly matte either. It is a beautiful in between. This feels so nice. So right away, this feels like a slightly thicker version of the Too Faced Hangover RX Pillow Balm, and I really, really like that product. This does have a, I would say, like slightly vanillic scent to it. Oh, this does say a warm, sweet, and slightly nutty aroma with subtle floral and vanilla undertones. I do get a slightly nutty, but more vanillic. I don't get floral. Like, it doesn't taste like chewing on a bouquet of flowers, which you know that I hate. So this has shea butter, jojoba oil, sweet almond oil, castor oil, vitamin E, and pomegranate flower extract. Unless something weird happens and this goes off, or I don't know, my lips end up hating it, I will definitely be getting another one of these to have in my car, because it feels so good. It feels so good. I like the packaging. It's just almost like a little bit Art Deco-y vibes. I really like this product. So this for sure is a win. We'll have to see about the blushes. And by the way, this product is $22. I did want to mention that. If you want to check out the matte liquid lips, if you love those, I know that they have launched now and those are $24. They do have 5 shades of those, but I'm just not a matte liquid lip girly, so I just knew that that wouldn't be a product for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. We'll do the eye look. We'll pick out a blush to go with it. All right, if you are not new to my channel, you will know that usually the first look I do, and most of the looks that I do, involve no sort of eye primer, no like glitter glue, nothing like that. I do have a bit of concealer on my lids. I'm just gonna go in and shoot straight from the hip with this first one. Maybe we'll play with the glitter glue just to see how intense we can get a shade in our next look. Okay. So I'm gonna swatch a couple of these shades and then we can kind of decide, gosh, this teal is looking so pretty. We're just, that moment where it sort of like breaks your heart of having to like smush the embossings on these. But, you know, I mean, there's not, I guess, you know, if you want to, there's nothing wrong with buying makeup just to look at it. But I am definitely more of a person who wants to like dig in, touch, feel, wear it. And so that's going to be what we do. So I'm just going to take 3 shades here and see which I want my main shimmer shade to be. Now, right off the bat, these do feel a little bit toppery. That could just be, it could just be me and my fingers, or maybe my hands are a bit dry, but I pulled up 3 shades. So we have Mountains Are Out. That's that purple shade. This shade is so pretty. So this is Cannon Beach. And then we have Crater Lake. So Crater Lake definitely out of the 3 feels like a bit thinner, toppery formula. Now with a wet brush, I mean, this is just like my dry fingers, right? And that's one thing, like I truly, when I do these swatches for y'all, like I don't try to make them look beautiful. I just want to quickly throw it on, see what it looks like, and get a little bit more of a realistic version of this. If you load your hand up, if you put primer down, blah, 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 you could probably get like very slick, metallic, you know, look out of these, but that's not the way it's going to perform on the eye. So I really just want this to look like what it's going to look like when you spend your money on the palette and you are trying these on. So I just put a quick little second layer on. That definitely helped. I still feel like this one has the most coverage. I cannot wait tomorrow to dive into some of these like earthier shades. Oh my gosh. I am seriously so excited. This is a beautiful palette. Okay, enough talking. Let's get to putting on some makeup. Wow, I just have to say though, really quickly, I know I was talking about the embossings, but a couple of these embossings are so involved. I don't know if you can see that first sort of dusty blue shade, Columbia River Gorge. I mean, that matte and Towering Sea Stacks, like they did pretty good with the embossing in here. I mean, they always do, but like this is a really impressive one. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. Like I said, less talking, more makeup on the face. So let's go ahead and start out with that Columbia River Gorge shade. I'm gonna go through with my Larife E13, and I am honestly probably gonna put that all over the lid. I personally want a little bit of a base color down for these shimmers because, again, I do feel like they're a little bit toppery, and I feel like having a matte down is going to just let that shimmer shine a little bit more. I mean, my eyelid skin is a little bit pink, and so personally, if I haven't laid down, I mean, I know I said that I put a little bit of concealer down, but I don't have like a fully covered eyelid. I want to make sure that I have a matte that's going to lay down so that I don't see my less than perfect flesh through the shadow. Okay, Holy Blue eyeshadow. So now that I have that on, I'm just dusting my brush off on a microfiber cloth, and then I'm taking Foggy Forest, which is that more like neutral cream, and I'm just gonna pop that on the edge and just blur those together just to sort of ground that blue a little bit and be able to blend that out. I did concentrate most of that color in the crease and then just put a light amount over the lid. Like I said, just something that will kind of cover my lid a bit. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take the What's Up Beauty R106 brush, and I'm going to take Mountains Are Out first. That's that lighter purple, and I am going to wet my brush because I basically always do. This Mountains Are Out shade, my brush is dry right now, but hopefully you guys will be able to see here. It has a little bit more of a fleck to it. I wouldn't say it's a flaky shadow, but coming out of the pan, it definitely has more of a texture to it. More so than anything, I think that's just in the formula as far as like the pan. It doesn't look that way on my hand, but it could mean that this might be one that normally you'd want to pop on without any other makeup on just to avoid fallout. The standard shimmers that Nomad does, like, usually don't really have much in the way of fallout. This one I have a feeling might have a little bit more, but you know, you can avoid it by dampening your brush probably, but it probably would be safer just to do your eye makeup first, just a note. All right, I'm gonna go about 2/3 of the way out, and then we will finish up with that Crater Lake shade on the outer side, just so that we can see both colors. So I think you can see it obviously looks a little bit darker on the eye with that darker blue underneath. It is more of that almost like silvery lavender shade if you were to wear it on its own, or maybe take a lighter matte and put that on underneath. But I can tell I don't think that I would be happy with this shade on its own without another color underneath. That's just more personal preference. I just think that I would see a little bit of my skin through this, and then more likely than not, I would try to like layer more, and eventually I would just have too thick of a shimmer on my eyelid. Both of these formulas are giving me vibes from another one of the Nomad palettes. After I get this look done, I'm gonna pull a few out and see if I can figure out where the vibe is coming from. I'm wondering if it's the Fairy Tale palette. So I'm not sure if this is what they are considering as one of the multi-chromes. It definitely has like a blue to purple shift. I don't think that it's, I mean, at this point, is there anything out there that we haven't seen? But it isn't a unique one by any means. It's pretty, it's soft, but it definitely has a bit of a flip. I would hearken this more to like a duochrome though, because the shift itself, I see a blue to purple. Does it have a pretty like extra silvery kind of sparkle to it? The Mountains Are Out shade has more sparkle to it, but there still is a bit of a sparkle in that like more duochrome. So this might be one that they're considering a multi-chrome. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's the other one, maybe it's Sunbreak. I'm just saying, like, I would consider this more of a duochrome. Okay, before I continue on, you can just kind of see they're on the eye. I don't feel like these look a lot different. My big difference that I can see in these is that that outer shade does have that blue to purple shift, whereas this is literally just that like light. I mean, it looks more blue over the blue matte, but it's just like that light sort of iridescent shimmer. I definitely got some fallout here, if that's okay. All right, we might as well just keep going with the blues. Let's take that deeper blue. This is like a blue teal shade, Leaping Orcas. I'm gonna take the What's Up Beauty R107 and I'm just gonna run that underneath the eye. And at the very edge, I'm just with almost no pressure, just sort of like flicking out that matte just to sort of blend it with that outer corner of the top, if that makes sense. Now, if I hadn't been trying to just really see these two shimmers, what I personally would have done is laid down a little bit of this deep matte just in that outer fourth underneath the shimmers that we were going to do, but I really wanted to be able to see what that color looked like. We already have one matte down underneath, so I was just sort of like, you know, keeping it a little bit more simple. All right, I am wiping that excess off my brush and I'm going back into, actually, let's go into this shade. I was going to use this Foggy Forest here is the shade that I used in my upper crease, but I'm actually going to use this Towering Sea Stacks, and I'm going to use that to just blur out the bottom of that Leaping Orchis shade, just to get a bit more of a smudged look on that deeper kind of teal blue. It keeps it from looking like I just put blue eyeliner down in a really thick way, and it's just going to soften that. Okay, I threw on a bit of mascara and I actually also decided that this look could use a little waterline liner. There's something about having like blue or teal right up against my lash line without having something in my waterline that always just sort of gives me the heebies. I don't know what it is, but I just went through with a Urban Decay pencil, just a purple one. Thought that really pulled the look together. This is cute. This is cute. Is this something that I would necessarily reach for? No, you guys know that blues and purples are not something that I reach for a lot, but I wanted to step out of my box. So I'm definitely excited to get into some more of these shades right here. Like, you know that this is a shade that I will probably at some point hit pan on in this palette. So we're not going to use that one in this next look, but we'll probably like stick to some of these earthy shades. So I am really excited to get into a second look, but we definitely need some blush. This look is going to really benefit from some color. So I think what I'm actually going to do, I think this is the perfect look to maybe use both of these. We'll start out with the lightest shade and then maybe add a bit of the second shade. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go through with the R205. Now, if you are not familiar with What's Up Beauty's brushes, they are handmade in Japan from undyed and uncut goat hair. So this feels super soft and it's going to be a good size for like a blurred out blush look. It's got enough give to it to sort of blur, but it's also got enough heft to it, I think, to really pick up in a pan if you want to use this with a powder blush as well. So the delivery system on these liquid blushes is very similar to like the Charlotte Tilbury Contour Wand or the Flower Beauty. They're like newer liquid blushes. I'm just going to take a little bit of this and we'll go higher up on the cheek. Now, if you are any darker than myself, I have a feeling that this first shade, this is Oceana. I have a feeling that just because of the bit of a white base in this, it probably wouldn't be best for anyone like deeper than a light medium. But if you have very light skin, this would probably be really nice on you. I mean, I'm getting away with it right now, so it definitely works. Okay, I am really happy with that. It is not... It doesn't have that chalky look that the swatch on my hand had. And like I said, I mean, that was laid on pretty thick. I'm going to take a little bit of the second shade. This one is Heirloom. And we're just going to pop a little bit of that right below. These blend out really nicely. And they truly do dry down, like not chalky matte. Like I feel like a lot of the liquid blushes, they still have that very glowy, dewy look. So if you live in a hot climate, if you have oily skin, if you just prefer a really nice matte look, but you want something that's liquid, like you just like that delivery system, this would be a good way to go. And it blends out pretty well. I have a feeling like if it takes you a little bit longer to blend out your blushes, I would just do one cheek at a time. Don't like put the product on both. All right, this is a vibe. Is it a little bit of an 80s vibe? Perhaps. Perhaps. We've got light blush on. We've got a blue eyeshadow look on. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So this is pretty. I think that the palette performed really well. I am happy about this blush. I love the fact that this blush doesn't feel sticky, so I know that like my hair that's down won't be like getting stuck. Very, very pretty. So now I get to enjoy this look for the whole day, which means I'll be able to give you my thoughts on the wear time on both the eyeshadow and the blush. My lips are feeling great with that glossy balm. That, I'm telling you, that right now is like, is a new favorite, I can already tell. But I will see you tomorrow with another look and I'll let you know how this wore. Good morning, here for an early look on day 2. So I have been sitting here for a little bit trying to decide exactly what I want to do because there's so many colors in here that I want to play with. But I think for many reasons, I'm going to have to go with Coffee Paradise as our like star of the show lid shade. I love coffee and the shade just really intrigues me. It's this beautiful, like slightly grungy gray brown with lots of beautiful dimensional color in here. So it's like a cool grayed out mocha. And so I think I'm gonna pair it maybe with these very fall-like tones. It's gonna be a little bit cooler here today. You know, here in Wisconsin, we've definitely sort of been going like between fall and summer and fall and summer. And so I woke up this morning and I was like, oh no, I think this is one of the first official days that it just feels like to the point where it's so cold that I don't want to get out of bed. I mean, we're nowhere near what it's going to be like, but when you're like, oh, it's a little chilly, I don't really want to have to deal with that. So we're going to go with some fall vibes. All right. I didn't put on any makeup so that I can avoid some fallout today. Wow, this shade is beautiful. I can't get over it. I don't even know. Like the shimmers in it, you get like a little bit of like a lavender, a little bit of like almost like a light seafoamy green, or like a, it's all very desaturated tones, like a desaturated yellow, a desaturated violet. This is so pretty. I just made a mess, but that's okay. That's why we're doing this now before we have on any other makeup. Okay, Coffee Paradise A++. I am gonna get a lot of use to this one this fall. All right, to go with it, I'm gonna start with Perfect Pinot, and this one looks, it's sort of like that burgundy brown. This definitely has that winey undertone, but it's more of just like a beautiful, rich, soft brown. But I think it has like just enough of that tone to it to really make it a very rich, beautiful color. And I wanted a really like tight small brush. I'm using the Sigma AB5 from the Angela Bright series. I thought I would probably have to use that Foggy Forest shade to blur out the edge, but actually this color is like blending out so nicely that I don't think I'll need that. I also have to say these are doing pretty well considering that the moisturizer that I used is a gel moisturizer that has a little bit of a tact to it. And so like right here on my brow, I did start to notice just a little bit of, it just was not blurring out quite as much. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And it definitely, like I can tell that my face has a little bit of stick. And I didn't put on any concealer since I knew I was using the glitter glue. So the fact that it still blurred out pretty darn well considering that I had like a sticky face, that's saying something. So I'm just gonna clean this up and then pop on my makeup and then I'll figure out what we're gonna do for the lash line. All right, let's go ahead and finish this look up. So I think I'm gonna start out by using this Salmon Run shade on a dry brush, just trying to use it as an inner corner shade. I've mentioned this in past videos that I feel like a lot of the recent Nomad palettes haven't really had many inner corner shades. I think this one might work wet, and then also Cascadia, this top color here would work as well, but it's a little bit too far off from the tones in this look for me to try that one. So we're just gonna use a little bit of this, and I think on a dry brush, it won't be quite so metallic, just a little bit softer. And of course, I could just use, you know, a face highlight nearby. I could use my companion palette and pop something out, but it would just be nice if this would work out. It's a little bit more reflective than what I would normally do, but I think buffing this out, it'll work. Yeah, that'll do in a pinch. Not my favorite formula to use as an inner corner shade, but it works, and I'm gonna be enjoying that one as a lid shade. Okay, so I'm just gonna wipe this pencil brush off, and then we're gonna take that Sasquatch sighting, which looks to be a brown with some olive in it. You know, it's like that deep, dusky. Both of these shades, I think, are probably gonna come up with less saturated color and look just a little bit softer. You know, that Pinot shade doesn't look as burgundy on the eye as it does in the pan. Or maroon, I guess. I don't know. What is the difference between a burgundy and a maroon? I guess I feel like burgundy is warmer and maroon is cooler. So I guess I would say that it is more of a burgundy than a maroon at any rate. Okay, we're just popping this on the outer. Let's start with just the outer third, see how we feel. I don't want this getting too dark under the lash line. I just want to get enough color to be able to see the tone of that. And then I'm just going to take that Foggy Forest. That's that. It's just, this is like ideal to have in this palette because you can use it as an easy matte with any of the shimmers, or it works to like blend out and soften other shades. So this is a good one to have in here. Okay, I am not gonna lie, I really, really love this look. This is soft and muted enough. It's giving me fall vibes. I'm gonna go put on some mascara. I'm gonna zoom out so that we can kind of finish up the look with that other shade of blush, which randomly, I didn't plan it this way, but I think it's gonna go really well with this look. All right, mascara on, and I love this look even more. I really just love this. Okay, so quickly, let's go ahead and put some blush on. We're gonna use this deepest, warmest shade, Leonidas. Oh my gosh, okay. At any rate, I have embarrassed myself enough, so let's pop this on. So I'm just gonna, because this one is a little bit darker, I'm gonna just do one side at a time, like I was mentioning yesterday. Oh, by the way, I do also actually have on the What's Up Beauty Chicotera bronzer. So this is their matte, it's like a baked matte bronzer that has, I don't know, just like a really soft look to it. So it's matte, but it's not, again, it's not that dusty, crusty, chalky matte. I'm gonna add just a little bit more of this. You know me. Never enough blush, never enough blush. This is a pretty warm tone. It's probably warmer than what I should be using for this look, but we are gonna give it a go. Oh, and speaking of giving it a go, at the end of this video, when I kind of round up my thoughts on everything, I'll let you know how everything wore yesterday, because like I said, I was able to wear my look from yesterday for a good long day, which always helps, especially like I said with the eye look. I didn't have on any eye primer. I just always like to do that to really know what, you know, what the staying quality is of something. So, oh, this is pretty. Yeah, very, very pretty. And I did go ahead and throw on a little bit of the Balm again, just as sort of a primer for lip color. It feels so good. It's just that like creamy, balmy type feel, not too shiny. This would be a great everyday lip product for sure. I'm just taking a little bit of the, which one is this? Hocus Pocus Spellbinding Lipstick from Nomad's Salem collection. And I'm just gonna kind of like blur that out. I think that this just really gives that like fall vibes. Oh yeah, okay. Just taking off a little bit of that. I just want it just for like a little bit of the tint. Plus I know once I put my Invisalign in, I don't want it getting everywhere. All right, I really, really love this. Now I do think that this look is a little bit more indicative of most likely what you will get out of this palette. I do think you have that option though of having those little bit lighter, brighter looks. Like if I were to take the yellow Sunbreak and, you know, this Pacific Crest, I think that you could stay in those lighter looks, but you also have the option with these shades over here into getting into some of those like grungier fall vibes. What I really think of more as like the Pacific Northwest kind of vibe. You know what I mean? So that being said, I do think that this is a palette that could take you fall into winter, and then even like that winter into spring, you know, where you're like, I want a little bit of color, but I don't want it to be like Eastery pastel type colors, this would be a great option. So I think that this really is a beautiful palette. Again, they did a great job with everything from the outer packaging. The embossing on this set is incredible, and so far the quality has been really great. Speaking of that, I will say that my look yesterday lasted all day long. I didn't notice any more fallout through the day. Like I said, when I was applying it, that first shadow did definitely like fall out as I was using it, which really doesn't surprise me given the texture and the shimmer in it. And normally when I'm going in with a shadow like that, I would do like I did today and just do my like complexion makeup after my eyes, which is totally fine with me. Lasted all day long. I will also say the blush, and I had a feeling once I popped it on and I was like, okay, if this isn't gonna be a chalky blush, it's going to be a very long lasting blush, and it really did last all day long, looked beautiful. So I was very impressed with the longevity of both of the products. So these What's Up Beauty Rose Hippity blushes are available now if you want to check them out. I'm really enjoying this lip product. Like I said, this would definitely be something that I would love to have in my purse, in my car. So Pacific Northwest launches on the 29th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And just with anything else on the Nomad site, my code KEEPBEAUTYREAL will save you. And just so that you know, that is not an affiliated code, but it does let the brand know whose content was helpful to you. And the pricing isn't out right now yet, but I would assume, given the pricing of other palettes, this is going to be in the $54 to $59 range. It obviously does have a couple more like duochrome, multi-chrome shades, which usually makes the price just a little bit higher. So that's something that I would just assume, but I will make sure to have the correct pricing and details down in the description box. All right, lovelies, I think that's it. You'll have to let me know what you think of this one. Again, if this is your color vibe, I think that this is really beautiful. I know we only did 2 looks today, but I can tell you, you know, pretty much for me, I know that the Nomad mattes are always going to be really gorgeous. It's always the shimmers that kind of change and shift over time as far as the formulas, and so far these are all very beautiful. The only one that I would kind of be curious about is this Ecotopia shade, just because it is that more multi-chromatic shade, but it's silky without being too slippy. Sometimes those really slippy ones get very creasy on me, but as far as the longevity of everything else in here, I can fully say with confidence that I'm sure that it'll be beautiful. So thanks for hanging out with me today. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments, and I will see you really soon.